Hey, Jared. So to kick things off, I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about you, your role at Skilljar.
Yeah, sure. I actually started here as a CSM and had a fairly long career as a CSM, but transitioned into revenue enablement. So I now lead revenue enablement here at Skilljar. Basically, that just means that I onboard, train, and just develop all of our customer-facing employees, generally our CSM, AE, and CAE teams.
Cool. And could you tell, like, what exactly does, I'm familiar with it, but for other people, what does Skilljar do and kind of who are your main customers?
Yeah, so we are an external LMS. We're purpose-built for customer education. So we help companies mainly in the B2B software space, the manufacturing and the healthcare space, solve all sorts of problems through customer training and partner training. So we help them improve product adoption, boost customer satisfaction, so like NPS, CSAT, maybe like customer retention as well. And then also things like deflecting support tickets and saving support costs, or maybe even just straight up driving training revenue through monetized training directly through Academy. It's definitely a choose your own adventure sort of thing. We find that a lot of customers tend to dip their toes in kind of all of those different use cases as well. So it's really, really fun. I was an early adopter of Arcade. I actually saw the tool first highlighted on Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter still. And so I saw the tool on there. I thought it was really cool. I like the show don't tell sort of terminology that was being shared there. I actually adopted it internally as a sales enablement tool. I was just finding it really difficult to get our product in front of our internal teams without causing a lot of issues. If we were doing something like showing how to publish a course in Skilljar, that would require a live demo of publishing a course. They would need to go into their personal dashboard, create a course, and then they would leave something behind pretty much if they didn't remember to delete that. So it's creating a little bit of mess in their own personal environments. And it made sense to kind of get in like those tailored demos, tailored experiences, and just show the product in a really, really clean and simple way, not overwhelm them as an internal team. And then just over time, we had a fantastic new director of product marketing start a little bit less than a year ago at this point. She was already familiar with similar tools in the space. So when her and I were talking about the new website, what was coming out, she was interested in how we were already leveraging Arcade internally, ended up jumping on a couple of syncs, talking through it, and ultimately she fell in love with the tool as well, and it just seemed like the right fit for our new website.
Websites are uh, tricky ones. There's a lot of eyeballs on it, which also means that internally, there's a lot of people who can weigh in and just decide what goes into the website. So when you were starting out on this Arcade project, like who was involved with that? What was the gap that you were seeing, and what was kind of the pain point you wanted to solve?
Yeah, there were a few different gaps. Mainly, it was just overall performance of our previous solution. So we really had just a collection of videos. It was gated. It was a little bit boring as well. It was just kind of old. It hadn't been updated in a couple of years. And it wasn't exactly the experience that we wanted our prospective customers to go through. It wasn't really the best first impression of Skilljar that we wanted people to kind of see when they came to our website to explore. It also just made sense to bring something really modern like Arcade to our website just because we did have that new website launching. It wasn't just a new experience, it was really kind of an overall brand refresh as well. And it would have been kind of a stark difference between what the new website looks like and then going to an older demo page that's gated and asking for a lot of information from you. So the two things just fit together so well. I know this sounds foolish, like stylistically, Arcade looked really, really cool and our website looked really, really cool. So those just kind of made sense. And then functionally, just giving people the opportunity to kind of click through things as they see fit and let us know when they're interested without requesting a ton of information from them. We just found overall getting really, really good engagement from the Arcade. So absolutely loving the experience so far. Been really, really great to see folks just kind of clicking around and trying out the different paths and branches and seeing what's most interesting to them out of the choices we're giving them.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll jump into that piece there on the branches and insights in a second. Um,
Sure.
so you said beforehand you had existing videos on the website, but it was really about the brand stylistic change, wanting to bring it, to be more modern as well. With the new Arcade that you created, was it using sort of the same, although it was changed into an Arcade, the same content and topics, or did you kind of go back to the drawing board and think about, okay, given that we're changing the website, are we going to rethink how we want to tell our story as a product as well?
That's a great question. I think there was certainly a lot of valid work that had previously been done to create those videos. And so I wouldn't even necessarily say that they were a bad experience at showing what Skilljar was about, but they were just missing that extra level of pizzazz, really. So that was definitely kind of the starting point. I will say that our director of product marketing, Sonia, she kind of analyzed all of that. She took everything from the old videos, picked the parts that she wanted to keep, picked the parts that she wanted to update, and picked the parts she wanted to get rid of. And then we kind of started storyboarding completely separately, and then just kind of smushed all those things together and kind of picked. Once we had a few more stakeholders involved, we were able to kind of start whittling down on kind of like the vital few that we wanted to pick from, but kind of a mix of the two.
The word storyboard is a loaded one, and candidly, like something we see customers do very differently. Like every customer does it differently. And even for ourselves, like we're constantly trying to figure out what is a better way to storyboard. So could you tell me a bit about, you said you kind of took it away and did the storyboard. What did that entail? Like what tools did you use? Was it dragged screenshots and copy? Like what did that look like? And what was the learnings from the process of doing that?
Sure, definitely. That was selfishly the most fun part of the entire process. I absolutely loved the storyboarding process. Had some amazing cross-functional partners that were all kind of chipping in, myself included, just chipping in wherever I could, wherever it made sense. We brought in other team members from RevOps, and we brought in team members from our customer education team, from our solution engineering team to make sure we're representing the product in the right way. So everything we just talked about, where we kind of boiled down what we wanted to show, once we kind of came to that conclusion of what we wanted there to be, then Sonia started working on a bunch of the copy. We did a lot of that work in Google Docs, honestly, in terms of just setting out tasks, timelines, owners, needs to be done and when. And so that was kind of the tactical piece of it. The creative piece was happening in Figma. So we had sort of random screenshots in there. We had some sample copy in there as well. We had the branches kind of dictated in there with just diagrams and things like that. And we had a general idea of what we wanted the entire tour to look like as a whole. And then the next part was, well, we don't want to build all this out and just take a chance on the storyboard. We want to see if it actually works first. So one cool thing about being at Skilljar is we have a bunch of academies to pick from. So we used our own academy, Skilljar Academy, and we just used that. And so we just followed all the same prompts. We followed the script. We used the same copy, but the screenshots we were capturing when we were actually recording the initial draft of the arcade were directly from our pre-built academy. We had all those components already built out. So it made it really, really easy. When it came time to actually create, our demo academy that you see on the website today, it was very simple to look back at all of those Skilljar Academy screenshots and say, okay, we need, this catalog page in there. We need these titles to be showing. We need these filter groups to be selected, just to make sure it's a smooth experience. But overall, it was very, very buttery smooth, thanks to Arcade and also having our own product in the mix as well.
Amazing. Sounds like a great combo. And I find it refreshing to hear that you found that process fun. I think in the beginning, it can seem a bit daunting, just being like, what do we want to say? What does this look like? And it's really, you kind of just need to start and just get something down, and then things can flow from there. But similar to maybe if you're a writer, it's like that first, the blank slate problem where you just need to start doing something. Kind of want to like wrap this part up. So, you talked about in the previous experience you were a gated page, and the goal, I'm assuming, was also to book a meeting to get people to request a demo and learn more about the product. Now that you have this experience on Arcade and it's running on your site, what does success mean or look like to you? And as you roll this out, like how are you measuring and thinking about performance?
Yeah, great question. Probably better answered by someone on our marketing team, but I'll do my best here. I might not have hard data or facts in front of me, but ideally, we're looking for a few different things. So we use tools for buyer intent to assess, when folks are actually visiting our website, when they're interested in purchasing, when they're just kind of in the consideration phase. We have tools in addition to what Arcade offers, the audience reveal, to figure out who is actually there, who's spending time on the site. We're looking into the analytics. We're very interested in how folks are spending their time in Arcade. We're also, like an actual tour itself, so very interested in how Arcade is fitting into kind of our lead attribution flow also. So we've actually seen a couple leads come through already where, Arcade is just one step in their journey as a prospect, all the way from, reading an ebook to checking out our website, to checking out the product tour, to downloading something else, to booking a meeting. And then of course, we're measuring all the things like our our click-throughs and call to actions, measuring meetings booked. I wouldn't say we have any hard facts just yet on performance versus the old method, just because realistically, it's really only been in the market for around a month. We launched it really at the tail end of April, so excluding holidays and weekends. It's really just been around a month that it's been out there, but the reception has been really, really positive so far. We've seen a ton of interest. It's really fun watching those numbers kind of skyrocket as folks click through. Overall, just kind of measuring every bit of it that we can. And then over time, obviously, we're going to see how the arcade itself is performing, maybe make some tweaks based on the performance that we're seeing and see if that changes anything too. But really, really satisfied with the kind of different layers of analytics we've been able to glean so far from it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for going through like a thorough walkthrough of it. And what I'm hearing from you too is there's two paths. There's the explicit, someone takes action right there and then, which is obviously the dream state that we want people to do, but realistically, that doesn't always happen. And so it's great to hear as well. You're also able to see, while people, an arcade is just one part of maybe other touch points you're having on your website. And so great to hear that you're able to piece those. One of the things I loved about your arcade was that you have on the intro chapter, so that first screen there, you have 4 different options for people. And it's kind of what the questions like, what are you curious to know about? And I love that phrasing. Could you maybe talk a little bit about how you decided on which paths you wanted people to take?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. So our director of product marketing did a lot of research. She did multiple deep dives into, like I said, kind of the old content, what we felt was really important to showcase around Skilljar, what's important today about our product as it stands right now if you're using Skilljar, and then also kind of looking ahead too with our roadmap and what are areas that we're going to be investing more into, areas that we're already investing into as a business. And so ultimately, just those 3 categories were kind of the 3 main buckets. If we kind of boiled it all down, the 3 main buckets that if you're interested in kind of the look and feel or monetization or business impact, those were kind of the 3 areas that we really wanted folks to spend a lot of time in, because those are differentiators for us. Those are areas that our product works really, really well, a lot better than others in the market. So we definitely wanted a chance to kind of flex on those strengths a little bit, but then also show probably, selfishly our favorite parts of the product too.
I love that. I think it's, the balance of, yes, wanting to, we believe that your product is your biggest differentiator. And so clearly if someone's coming to your website, they're most likely looking at you versus alternatives. If you are trying to either explicitly or indirectly showcase that, the best way to do that is by showing your product, which is exactly what, you're saying and what hopefully Arcade is able to help you do. And so just kind of thinking back on the project, I know, as you said, it's only been a month and we're chatting now. So I'd love to know, are there any learnings from the process? Like if you were to do it again, would you do anything differently? Or what things did you learn through the process?
Yeah, in terms of kind of constructive takeaways, I would say that I don't think we did anything really crazy off base. I felt really, really good about the way that we were able to team up and deploy this on time. We actually had some folks going on leave. We had some folks out on PTO, including myself. But just by having that entire storyboarding process be kind of like project planning, project management, and creative storyboarding kind of tied into one with clear owners and clear timelines, it made it a lot easier. So I would definitely recommend to anyone trying this out, take the extra time to do the extra planning. It's so worth it in the end. A few extra hours of planning, a few extra meetings of planning makes the rest of it move slowly, because you're really just doing confirmations and sort of quick gut checks at the end, because you're already aligned on the most important things. Also, we had to involve a couple other teams too, like bringing in customer education, bringing in solutions engineering. I don't think we really faced any sort of major hurdles or roadblocks there, but I would say that if you're trying this out and you identify that there might be stakeholders, invite them in and let them tell you if they're not needed. It definitely makes more sense that way, because we need little things like, we're sending people out with this call to action, we're sending people to this form. And so we obviously need like a UTM link or something like that. So we need RevOps to spin that up, and just little things like that. That was something we did last minute. And thankfully a UTM link is really easy for RevOps to spin up for us. But at the same time, there are a bunch of little things that will kind of pop up later. And if you just involve those people sooner, you'll find out what all those little nitpick little items are, and you can kind of focus on the big stuff.
Love that. That's great feedback and insight. And yeah, I liked how you said, the phrasing of going through the brief, figuring out, are we on the same page? What is the objective for doing this? Like, what are the steps we're going to take to get there? It massively helps, especially you said, there's multiple people involved and through rounds of feedback, etc. And so one final question, this is more taking a step back. Like, I'd love to know if you had to describe Arcade in a sentence. If it needs to be more than a sentence, that's okay. But what would you say? What would it be?
I would say, I'll just go straight off the cuff here. I would say it's the easiest and the most beautiful way to show our product to customers. And that's probably where I'd leave it. It's been fantastic.
I love to hear that. I think, from our side, something that we care like so deeply about, beautiful design of the product is so important to us, because it's really like a reflection of your brand. Like, if we want to have you put this on your website and show it to any person who comes there, we need to earn the right to make you be able to show it that way. So
design details matter a lot. Yeah, it says a lot about the product where, Arcade itself as a container for our demo does not take away from our product at all. In fact, it doesn't fade away either into the background like some of the products will. Like it does just the right amount, in my opinion, of lifting. It looks beautiful. It's intuitive. It's only gotten better over time as well. Chapter markers help with the spatial awareness. So it's been really, yeah, I guess the word I would really use is intuitive. Folks really have no problem picking it up and using it, and there are really no barriers to trying out our product.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for chatting, Jared. And yeah, we're excited to see how the rest of it goes.
Yeah, thank you.